Good afternoon, everyone. In previous class, we have discussed Rankine cycle. In that Rankine cycle, we have seen different processes which are undergoing through the whole cycle. The process 1 to 2, which is isentropic expansion, and process 2 to 3, isobaric heat transfer or heat rejection. Since the process is in between condenser, right? At the condenser, that is from process 2 to 3, right? So it is going to be within the condenser, which is isobaric heat rejection. And process 3 to 4, again here we are going to have isentropic pumping process. Okay, and again 4 to 1, there will be isobaric process, and that too heat addition process. Within the boiler we are going to add some heat. That's why we are going to call this process as constant pressure or isobaric heat addition process. We have already seen PV, TS, and HS diagrams, and these are the PV, TS, and HS diagrams. And after that, we have seen this comparing. That means we are going to consider 1 kg of fluid here, and applying steady flow energy equation to boiler, turbine, condenser, and pump. We are going to have, for suppose for boiler, as we have boiler, we need to consider boiler here. And what is the input to it? HF4 is the input, and what is the output? So depending upon steady flow energy equation is nothing but taking uh, all the inputs on LHS and all the outputs on the RHS. So whatever we have the boiler inputs, these are the inputs here, HF4 as well as Q in. Steam is going to get into the boiler at enthalpy HF4, and this is going to be Q1. Here, that means Q1 amount of heat is going to be supplied to the boiler, and what is output from here? We are going to get some steam at enthalpy H1. That is the output. So what is input here? Q1, which has to be taken on the LHS. So HF4 plus Qin is equal to H1, as like here. Okay, HF4, which is input, and heat supply. We are going to give some heat to the boiler, which is taken as input. So all the inputs on LHS and outputs on RHS, right? So HF4 plus Q1 is equal to H1, so that it will become Q1 is equal to H1 minus HF4. Similarly, the same we are going to do for the turbine here. If we do the same for turbine, what are the inputs we have? Only H1. And what is the output here? Here work done is going to be there by the turbine. That is the work output here. And another thing which we got as output is this one, the steam at enthalpy H2. So input H1 is equal to turbine work. Since this is output and this is also output, we have H1 is equal to WT plus H2. So now what is turbine work? Nothing but H1 minus H2. See, in this way we are going to take here. Okay, and in the same way for condenser, if we have considered the condenser, this one, the process is going to be 2 to 3, and this is a Q out or a Q in. Since it is heat rejection process, we need to take this as RHS in RHS side, and this is the input here. Okay, Q2 is equal, sorry, H2 is equal to Q out plus, or Q out or Q2 plus H3 enthalpy, steam at enthalpy H3. So H2 is equal to Q2 plus HF3. Why? Because here F means fluid here. That means which is going to be in liquid form. So we are going to have H2 is equal to Q2 plus HF3. So finally we are going to have Q2 is equal to this, when it goes to RHS, from RHS to LHS, it will become minus HF3. So finally Q2 is nothing but H2 minus HF3. Same, if we apply steady flow energy equation for heat pump, right? If we apply steady flow energy equation for feed pump, now the process is going to be between 3 and 4. So what is the input here? Since we are going to give some work input, then the work input has to be taken on LHS, right? So this is the input, and this HF3 is also input. So HF3 plus WN is equal to, or pump work is equal to HF4. Now what is pump work or work input? Nothing but H3, it's H3 minus HF4, this one. Okay, here we are going to have this, since it is input. So what we are going to have, pump work is nothing but HF4. Since we have taking this from LHS to RHS, it will become negative, right? So WP or pump work is equal to HF4 minus HF3. So now we should calculate Rankine efficiency. Okay, we already know whatever the efficiencies we have already calculated. Now efficiency of Rankine cycle, first of all, what is efficiency? It's nothing but work output by or else work done by heat supply, nothing but output by input. Here what is output? Nothing but work done. Net work done is the output, and what is the input? We have heat supply. So instead of output we have net work done, and instead of input we have heat supply. Now what is work network output? Network output is nothing but, here we are going to produce some work, at the same time we are going to give some work to the feed pump. To run the feed pump, we definitely has to give some work. Whatever the power developed by the turbine is there, that from that some of the power is used to run the feed pump here, right? So that's why we are going to take network output. So what is network output? Nothing but here this is the whole work produced, which is turbine work, minus whatever the work input is there, that we need to take out. Why? Because we are giving some work from the some of the work from the total work developed within the turbine, right? So that's why W2 minus WP it will become, right? So here that is network done is WT minus WP by heat supplied is going to be Q1. So we have already derived all these things. What is turbine work? Turbine work, here we have derived, which is H1 minus H2, and pump work also we have derived. What is a pump work? HF4 minus HF3. And what is heat supplied? Heat supplied also we have calculated. That is H1 minus HF4. Okay. Since the pump work is going to be very negligible here, the pump work when compared to the turbine work, okay, whatever the work developed within the turbine is there, that is going to be very high when compared to pump work. That means the pump work can be neglected here. So if we neglect the pump work, that means if the pump work is taken as zero, then what we will have? Nothing but H1 minus H2 by H1 minus HF4. Since we are going to neglect this pump work, why? Because it is in, when we have taken that in comparison with the turbine work, that is going to be very small, so it can be neglected. In that way, this is the whole Rankine cycle efficiency. Nothing but we have derived from here. We have made that pump work as zero. Who is that? Please mute Dinesh. Okay, so it is going to be H1 minus H2 by H1 minus HF4, right? So at the same time, we are going to take the water as incompressible fluid. Since the water is incompressible fluid, if there is any change in pressure, if there is any change in the pressure, that means if there is any raise in pressure, if there is any increase in pressure, definitely there will be some changes in specific volume and density. There will be changes in density as well as specific volume. So by taking reversible adiabatic equation for the process, okay, for by taking the reversible adiabatic equation, we by using reversible adiabatic equation, we will get this equation which is derived from the thermodynamics itself. Okay, in thermodynamics we have this formula, which is TdS is equal to dH minus VdP, right? So here the change in entropy, if we see here, is there any change in entropy? Entropy is going to be constant. Here S1 is equal to S2 here. So the change in entropy from process 1 to 2, is there any change? No. The change in between the process 1 to 2 of entropy is going to be 0. So we can make that change in entropy delta S in between process 1 to 2 is going to be 0. Okay. So we are, since it is isentropic process, the entropy can be made as 0. So this ds is going to become 0. so that the whole thing here it will become 0. So 0 is equal to dH minus VdP. So if we get that to LHS from RHS, if we get that to LHS, what it will become, dH is equal to plus VdP, 0 plus VdP. It can be written like this, dH is equal to VdP. And since the change in specific volume is negligible here, this specific volume is there now, if that is negligible, the change is negligible, but we need to take one of the value, right? So delta H is equal to V into delta P. And we are going to consider pump work here. Okay, whatever the pump we have, that we are going to consider. So what is pump work here? HF4 minus, which is going to be higher, you can see HF4 is going to be higher. So it will become HF4 minus HF3. That is the pump work, right? HF4 minus HF3. And what is the corresponding specific volume here? What is the corresponding specific volume? V3. V3 is equal to V4. Here you can see the corresponding specific volume is V3, right? At the same time, what is change in pressure? How many pressures we are going to have? Only two pressures. One is boiler pressure and the other one is condenser pressure. So which one is higher? P1. So we need to take out P1, P2 from P1. So that means P1 minus P2 here. That's what we need to do. Okay, now the same thing which we have done here. So HF4 minus HF3, which is pump work, is equal to, and a corresponding specific volume is into P1 minus P2. Here the P has been taken in bar. Okay, the P has taken in bar and V, or specific volume, in meter cube per kg, meter cube per kg. We need to convert, while doing calculations we need the values or enthalpy values in kilojoule per kg. At the time, what we need to do means we need to convert that bar to uh, joule per kg. So how can we convert? By taking that bar, by converting that bar to joule per kg. One bar is equal to 10.5 joule per kg. Okay, so it will become HF4 minus HF3 is equal to V3 into P1 minus P2 into 10 power 5. Why? Why? Because we have converted that bar to joule per kg. Okay, so that's why we need to take this. And after that, since which we have already discussed, the feed pump term HF4 minus HF3, this one. Okay, this pump work is negligible when compared to the turbine work. Okay, when compared to turbine work, this pump work is going to be very, very negligible. Whatever the input we are giving to the pump, that work is going to be negligible. So that's why we can neglect pump work here. If we neglect the pump work, that means this whole term will become 0. So what we have, turbine work by heat supplied. Here turbine work is H1 minus H2 and heat supplied is H1 minus HF4. Okay, this is the turbine work and this is the heat supplied. The same we have written by taking this as 0. Why we are going to take this as 0? Why? Because here this work is going to be neglected here. That's why when compared to the turbine work, that's why we are going to take this value as 0, pump work as 0. So that's what how we are going to calculate or determine efficiency of Rankine cycle with pump work is this one, without pump work is this one. Okay. Next, I request all of you to please bring steam tables tomorrow. Tomorrow you have offline class now. Definitely you should come to the class with steam tables book only. Otherwise, it won't help you to solve problems. You will face a lot of problems while solving the uh, calculations. So there will be lot of this is the Rankine cycle, but the Rankine cycle efficiency by using this general method is going to be very, very less. So that's why what we have done is we need to improve the efficiency of Rankine cycle. So these are the methods to improve the Rankine cycle efficiency. Why? Because we are going to have very, very poor efficiencies if we follow the basic cycle, Rankine cycle. This cycle, we are going to have very, very less efficiency. So definitely we need to improve the Rankine cycle efficiency. So what we need to do to improve the Rankine cycle efficiency? There are two methods. Okay, one is increasing the average temperature at which heat is supplied. So where we are going to supply heat? At the boiler. Okay, at boiler we are going to supply heat. So if we increase, okay, whatever, if we increase the average temperature whenever heat is going to be supplied, that can increase the Rankine cycle efficiency. That means this H1 value which is going to be given to the boiler, okay, this heat supply should be increased. Then we will get higher efficiencies. And what is the another method? The other method is to reduce the temperature at which heat is rejected. That means where we are going to reject the heat, at a condenser we are going to reject the heat. Okay, this is the heat rejection, q out. If we reduce further temperature, that means for suppose in actual Rankine cycle, if we have the temperature as at condenser as 25 degrees centigrade, but if we have reduced that, if we have reduced that minimum temperature to 20 degrees centigrade, right? 20 degrees centigrade, 18 degrees centigrade, then there are chances of Rankine cycle efficiency in improving is going to be much better high. So that's why here to the boiler, wherever we are going to give heat, there we need to improve the heat supply, and wherever there is heat rejection, there we need to decrease the temperature. If we do like that, that means if we increase the average temperature at boiler, or if we decrease the temperature, minimum temperature, if we decrease the temperature at condenser, then the chances of getting higher efficiencies can be high. So how can we achieve this? How can we achieve that means how can we give higher temperatures or higher average temperatures at boiler, or how can we decrease temperature at the condenser? So these are the three process we are going to have. Okay, suitable changes in the conditions of the steam generation or condensation. So what are these two can be achieved with the help of these three things. So first one, what is the first one? Increasing boiler pressure, and the second one is superheating, and the third one is reducing condenser pressure. So if we do these all, then we are going to have higher efficiencies. For Rankine cycle we can achieve higher efficiencies by by allowing these two cases to follow. And how can we follow these two process? By having these conditions. So what are those conditions? By increasing boiler pressure, by superheating, that means whatever the steam we have, that should be superheated before sending into the turbine. And the third one is reducing condenser pressure. Whatever the condenser is there now, that at that pressure has to be reduced. So once if we reduce the pressure, automatically, since the temperature is going to be in direct proportionally directly proportional with temperature, since pressure has been increased, temperature also going to since pressure has been decreased, temperature also going to decrease. Okay, which enables this criteria to follow. Okay, this criteria has to be achieved. And after that, increasing the average temperature at which heat is supplied. So how can we increase the average temperature? Nothing but by giving boiler pressure, or by increasing boiler pressure, or else after boiler we can superheat the steam by using some superheaters. We will use superheat the steam. So after taking steam from the boiler, again we are going to use some superheater. Okay, so those are the cases. So see here, boiler pressure, if the boiler pressure goes on increasing, how Rankine cycle efficiency is also going to increase. And what is the peak efficiency? We have exactly at 200 bar. Okay, at 200 bar we are going to, or 175 bar, like that, 150 or 170, in between 150 and 120, we can say from exactly or precisely between 160 to 175. Okay, in between if we maintain those pressures, then we are going to have highest Rankine cycle efficiency. And why we are going to have Carnot cycle efficiency at high position? Why? Because this is all like we have studied in IC engines theoretical cycles. Okay, Carnot cycle. In the same way, it is going to fall. Okay, this Carnot cycle is going to have very high efficiency. Why? Because whatever the fluid we have used, and also the process are going to be ideal here. Nothing is in real. Okay, everything is going to be in optimistic. That means everything is in assumption only. Okay, that's why we are going to have for Carnot cycle higher efficiencies. But for Rankine cycle, if the pressure, boiler pressure is low, then the Rankine cycle efficiency is going to be around 22% only. See, if it goes on increasing boiler pressure, the Rankine cycle efficiency also has been increased. Okay, and these plots are drawn after doing several experiments only. And next one, the second one is superheating. Okay, specific mean consumption, the see, here also the same, but this is for specific fuel consumption. That means how much of fuel has been consumed. Okay, how much fuel has been consumed to increase the boiler pressure. See, yes, the boiler pressure goes on increasing, the consumption has been reduced. At the start, at 0 bar it is going to be around 5 bar, but as it goes on, this specific consumption is going to be reducing. So once if the specific consumption or steam consumption is going to be reduced, then automatically efficiency is going to be increased. Why? Because here steam consumption, okay, per to run the boiler per 1 hour, it will take some 1,000 liters of fuel. Okay, so whatever it may be, 1,000 kg of fuels is most probably we are going to use solid fuels here, like coal, charcoal, and all those in the combustion, external combustion of Rankine cycle or steam power plant. We use solid fuels only, like charcoal, coal, anthracite, different types of coals we are going to use, right? So that's why, as the pressure goes on increasing, the amount of fuel has to be consumed is going to be reduced. So that's why the efficiency is going to become higher. In the same way, we are going to have another case here, by decreasing or reducing the temperature at which heat is rejected. So this is the second case, decreasing or reducing. Um, Depends upon superheating, I think. So the boiler, this is the boiler pressure, and this is the efficiency. See, where we have highest pressure here, here we have the highest pressure at 166 bar. Same, the same diagram was shown here. At 166 bar, we are going to attain maximum efficiency for a particular boiler taken at certain conditions. And the degree of superheat, this is the degree of superheat here. See, the efficiency is going to increase if the degree of superheat is going to increase. See, the degree of, if the degree of superheat is going to increase, the efficiency is going to increase enormously. At the same time, for the condenser pressure, for condenser pressure, what we have discussed, reduced. Okay, see, if we reduce the condenser pressure, efficiency is going to increase. Okay, the for higher condenser pressure, since this is 0, 1, 2, like that, if it is 10 bar, then the efficiency is very low. If the condenser pressure is 1 bar, then the efficiency is very high. See, so that means we need to reduce the condenser pressure, then only we can achieve higher efficiencies. Okay, so these are the things which we are going to use, or which we are going to have some efficacy. That means have more efficiency. To have more efficiency in Rankine cycle, definitely we need to follow these conditions, and to obey those conditions, we are going to use these parameters, like increasing boiler pressure or superheating like this, and reducing condenser pressure like this. Okay, so these are the several methods we are going to improve, we are going to do for improvement of thermal efficiency of Rankine cycle. Okay, next, there will be these are the very important methods, which is regenerating method, reheating method by water. That means these are also the methods to improve Rankine cycle, and we are going to discuss in these discuss these in detail. Okay, these two processes we will discuss in detail, and these two processes are also useful to improve the efficiency of Rankine cycle, but these two are not that much preferred. Okay, only these two are going to be preferred. So that's why we will go in depth of these two methods, and we will just know what is this process. That means we just know the name to improve the efficiency of Rankine cycle. So to improve thermal efficiency of Rankine cycle, there will be four methods, and most probably we will use two methods. Those are regeneration method and reheating method. So One by after that we can also use a water extraction. By water extraction at condenser also we can improve the efficiency of thermal. Sorry, we can also improve thermal efficiency of Rankine cycle by using binary vapor. Also, we can improve the thermal efficiency of Rankine cycle. Okay, forget about these two, bottom two, and concentrate on the about two things which are very important in our and those are included in our syllabus also. These two, no need. By water extraction and by using binary vapor, no need. And we need to definitely follow regenerative feed heating method and the reheating method, regenerative feed heating or reheating. Okay, we will discuss in depth of these two methods, so that how we are going to improve Rankine cycle. By doing problems also we can know how much improvement is there in Rankine cycle. Okay, we will discuss those later. Okay, before going to that, we just come to know the concept of mean temperature of heat addition. Okay, so first of all, what is this concept of mean temperature of heat addition? Here, as the name suggests, here the mean temperature is high. Okay, we have already discussed this here. Okay, if the at boiler, for suppose if we see boiler, what is the method to improve Rankine efficiency? Okay, one of the method is to give additional heat to improve the efficiency. Okay, whenever wherever we are going to supply heat, there we need to give some extra heat. Then the chances of getting higher efficiency in Rankine cycle is going to be in high, right? So in the same way we are going to know. Okay, so we are going to take the average temperature. Mean means nothing but the average temperature for heat addition. For suppose this is a TS diagram. We already know on a y-axis t temperature we have taken, and on x-axis we have taken entropy. The same diagram we have taken. See, uh, PV and TS diagrams, whatever the TS diagram here we have taken, okay, the same diagram we have taken here. Okay, once you can observe this. Okay, the same diagram we have taken here. So here the concept of mean temperature of heat addition means nothing but whatever the heat is going to be added. Here mean means nothing but you already know, mean is nothing but average temperature. Okay, so here the average temperature is going to be high. That means how can you say that the particular cycle is going to have high efficiency? By knowing its mean temperature. If the average temperature is going to be high, then that means for the cycle whose mean temperature is going to be high, for that cycle the efficiency or thermal efficiency is going to be high. That is indication for having higher efficiency. So how can we compare? Means in that way we are going to compare. Okay, to compare one each other cycle. For suppose the input conditions for this cycle is something else, and for if we have taken another cycle, that means if we have tested on another equipment of the which is running on the same Rankine cycle, the input and output pressures and temperatures are going to be different, right? So whenever these are going to be different, how can we confirm which is going to have better efficiency? By taking the mean temperature of heat addition. Okay, if we take the mean temperature of heat addition, for that means if we calculated mean temperature of heat addition for this cycle, and at the same time if we have calculated for suppose this is one cycle and this is one cycle. Okay, this is vapor dome and this is vapor dome. This is one cycle. Okay, and at the same time here we have another cycle, right? Okay, this is one cycle and this is one cycle. Okay, of these two, which one is going to have higher efficiency? That is going to depend upon mean temperature of heat addition. Now how can we calculate this mean temperature of heat addition? If the mean temperature of heat addition is going to be high, then for that particular cycle the efficiency, thermal efficiency is going to be high. Okay, how I can prove? Just give me a minute. And we already know this is nothing but theme here. Whatever the area it is going to be covered, that will give us the work done. Okay, whatever the work done by the cycle is going to be given by the area covered in this whole diagram under whatever the under the curve whatever the area is there, under the curve 4 to 1, whatever the area is there, that whole area will tell us the amount of work done by the turbine or work output of particular Rankine cycle, right? If we are going to tell that, that means this is a statement. If temperature, concept of mean temperature is going to be maximum, efficiency is going to be maximum. Now we are going to prove that. Okay, if T mean is going to be maximum, how efficiency is going to maximum? Now we are going to prove that. Okay, here mean temperature means nothing but average temperature of the whole cycle. Here we have T3, T4, T1, T2. Okay, for suppose if we add all those and we have averaged all those, then we will get some mean temperature. Okay, nothing but temperatures, average of all these temperatures will give us the mean temperature. Okay, so in that way, if this average temperature whatever we have got, if it is going to high, then efficiency is going to be high. So now we are going to prove that. Okay, so for suppose we already know this equation, q equal dq is equal to T into ds. Here what is dq? Nothing but change in heat, and T is temperature, and ds is change in entropy. Here what is ds? I already said the area under TS diagram, whatever the area under, this whole thing is change in entropy. Okay, ds is nothing but the area, whole area under this TS diagram. Okay, this is the TS diagram. Okay, this is for Rankine cycle, this is the TS diagram, and the area under this whole TS diagram is nothing but the change in entropy ds. Okay, that is equal to T mean. Here we are going to take, instead of temperature, instead of taking one particular temperature, we are going to take mean temperature. That means average of all these temperatures, right, into ds. So that is Q1. Okay, this is Q1. Now what is Q2? Here delta is delta s during this process is going to be S4 minus S1 minus S4, and at the same time heat rejected we need to take. Okay, this is for Q1, this one. Okay, T mean into delta s, and now we need to take Q2. Okay, heat rejected we need to take. Okay, now what is total heat we have? Nothing but Q1 minus Q2 now. So that's why only we need to take only this area. Okay, so how can we get only this area? This total minus this total area minus this Q2. Okay, to get this whole area, I have to calculate this whole area minus this Q2. Will it will give me the whole area here. Okay, so that's why I need to calculate Q1 and Q2. So how can I get a Q2 here? Here the mean of these two temperatures into here delta s is S2 minus S3. So here we already know that since this S2 is equal to S1, at the same time S3 is equal to S4, right? What is S2? Nothing but S1, and at the same time S3 is nothing but S4. Since these two are isentropic, this 1 to 2 is also isentropic process, 3 to 4 is also isentropic process. So instead of taking S2 minus S3, I have taken S1. Since both are same only, here S1 is equal to S2 and S3 is equal to S4. Instead of taking one, I am taking 1 dash. Why? Because it is going to be in superheated region. If it is going to be dry saturated region, I have already told you, right? If it is superheated region, then we need to take, we can keep it like that also, no problem. Okay, either S1 or S1 dash, both are same only. No, there is no difference, right? So that's why anyway it is going to be a constant entropy constant process, isentropic process, right? That's why S1 dash minus S4, that means S2 I have substituted with S1, at the same time S3 with S4, and that is equal to T mean into I have taken S1 and S1 dash and S1 as same here. So it will become T mean is equal, that is equal to T mean into S1 minus S4. Okay, so now how can I get this H1 minus H4 here? The heat supplied here is going to be this H1 minus H4, right? So this heat supplied Q1 is nothing but from here. Okay, from here the Q1 is nothing but H1 minus H4. We already derived all this, right? I hope you all you understand. So this whatever the Q1 here is there now, that is going to be S1 minus S4, right? So this is Q1 is nothing but S1 minus S4. Okay, sorry, H1. Yeah, enthalpies I am going to take H1 minus H4, that is equal to T mean I have. And again, what are the entropies? What are change in entropy? S1 and S4. Okay, so it will become S1 minus S4. So now what is T mean? T mean is nothing but if I have taken T mean as constant here and I have taken this RHS to LHS, it will become divided by. So H1 minus H4 by S1 minus S4. Now what is Rankine cycle efficiency? One nothing but 1 minus Q2 by Q1. It will be Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. Okay. Why? Because here I am going to have work output as Q1 minus Q2 and divided by Q1 here. So 1 minus since efficiency in particular thing I am going to have is 1 minus Q2 by Q1. This is we already know from thermodynamic itself we have derived this, which is 1 minus Q2 by Q1, right? So now what is Q1? From here I have Q1 as T mean into delta S, which is T1 T mean into S1 minus S4. And what is Q2? Q2 is nothing but here I have taken this one, right? I have here T2. Okay, here instead of taking T mean I have taken T2. Okay, so Q2 is nothing but T2 into here what is the entropy changes? S2 minus S3. Okay, for heat rejection. This is for heat addition and this is for heat rejection. Now, if the T2 is going to decrease, definitely T mean has to increase. We need to prove that equation. T2 is going to decrease, T mean is going to increase here. That means automatically this efficiency is going to increase here. So that I will have efficiency is equal to 1 minus, here I have Q2 as T2 into S2 minus S3. Here I have T2 into S2 minus S3 and a T mean. What is Q1? Q1 is T mean into S1 minus S4. Since this S2 minus S3 and S1 minus S4 are equal, we have shown here, right? S2 minus S3 is equal to S1 minus S4. So we can cancel that. Finally, we will get efficiency is equal to 1 minus T2 by Tm. That means here T2, instead of taking T2, I can go with the optimum temperature, right? That's why I have taken TO. Okay, no difference here. Just keep that T2 only. So once if you compare this equation is going to become this one. Efficiency is equal to 1 minus T2 by T mean. Okay. So once if you observe this equation, what happens?